Hey guys, coming from the Forge here. I want to catch up on what happened at the Forge last night. So we continued to move through the book of Joshua, the making of a man, and we're getting close to the end of this book. Last night we looked at 18 and 19, and really just a couple verses at the beginning of 18, but we're going to say it covers 18 and 19 because we're in this big section where it is going over the allotment of the land, and so there's just a lot of geographic details and names and places and cities and things, and there really isn't a lot of narrative content or proclamations or things that we can really sink our teeth into for our own spiritual development. But there are always these little spots, these little transitions where something is said, something is done. There's a little lead in to the section, and there's usually gold there. And so you got to pay attention to that stuff, and that's where we're going to find the gold this week in the book of Joshua. So Joshua 18, again, up to this point, they've been handing out the allotments of the land for the 12 tribes of Israel to settle. The major battles for the conquest of the land are over, but now they got to settle the individual pieces that will be the territories of each of the 12 tribes of Israel. And so a bunch of those have been handed out, but there's still 7 tribes that haven't went off to settle their land yet. And so there's an interesting little interaction that Joshua has with them about this matter. In fact, Joshua gives them a little bit of a subtle rebuke, saying, hey, you're really not doing what you need to be doing here. And we're just going to use that as a little jumping off point to dive into a matter that I think all of us can appreciate as a daily struggle in our own life, in a place where we can all get better. I know I can and need to get better in this area. So let's check it out. Joshua chapter 18, the whole assembly of Israel, the whole assembly of the Israelites gathered at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The country was brought under their control. But there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So, verse 3, so Joshua said to the Israelites, how long will you wait? How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? There's an implication here from Joshua that they ought to be doing something, that they've had all the information and all the instructions that they need. It's really up to them now. They're supposed to be occupying these lands, settling these lands that have been allotted to them. Why are you waiting? How long will you wait before you go and do it? You know, for the last 45 years, these people have been nomadic people. You know, they haven't had a home. They haven't had a city. They haven't had a house. They've been living in tents and moving from place to place. They've been living a nomadic lifestyle. And you know what? We get used to whatever we get used to. And these people, they're kind of used to that. And they're not real ambitious about moving into settling their land and doing the work to build their homes and farm their fields, and they're just kind of dragging their feet. You know what they're doing? They're procrastinating, okay? This is all about procrastination, and I think that's something, again, that all of us can identify with. Putting things off, pushing things down the road, saying later, tomorrow, that's when I'll get to that. Well, I want to take a look at some scriptures this morning, or today, that kind of illustrate the significance of importance and the significance of and importance of procrastination and overcoming it, because it's something that can really have a negative effect on our life. And so I'm just going to jump in, give you some verses, and give you a few words about them. I got about 6 real quick principles that might help you, and I'm going to try to put them into play as well to help us be better and taking action in our lives, not being men of procrastination. Okay, so James chapter 4, verse 17 says, if anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. If you know there's some good thing that you're supposed to be doing and you don't do it, it's sin for you. Well, why would we not do the good thing that we know we ought to do? Well, there could be different reasons. There could be various reasons. One of those reasons could definitely be that we're just putting it off because for whatever reason we really don't want to do that thing, or we're not anxious to do that thing, and so we're putting it off or procrastinating. But you know what? God says that's actually sin to do that. And so right off the bat, I'm just trying to set the bar here that procrastination isn't just a secondary issue that, it's not really a moral issue. It's not really something that, it's not a great habit, but it's not really a big deal either. No, the Bible says if you know what you're supposed to do and you don't do it, it's sin. Well, then that tells us how seriously we need to take it. We need to be men of action, not men who put things off and procrastinate. And I know that's very convicting for me because there are things that I don't want to do for whatever reason. And it's easy to put them off. But to not do what you know you should do is actually sin. So I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit. See if I can get this thing up a little bit. I don't know if that's better or not, but all right. So procrastination is a sin and not a part of God's will for you. That's number one. Procrastination is a sin and it's not God's will for you. And so we just need to know that, be convicted by that. Let that move us forward. Another principle that we can grab hold to comes from Proverbs chapter 20, verse 4. It says, sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but find nothing. What a great verse. Okay, the sluggard, the lazy guy, he doesn't plow in season. So harvest comes and you know what? He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a harvest. He doesn't have a crop. He doesn't have a way of income. He doesn't have the food he needs. The sluggard, the lazy man, has put off the work. And now he's got nothing. And why does a sluggard do that? Why does a lazy man do that? What is he doing in his laziness? He's just avoiding the hard work. He's procrastinating. And then there comes a point where he procrastinates and he procrastinates and he puts it off. And then it's too late. The time to be able to plant is over. You got a window of opportunity. And we've all got those windows in different areas in our life where there's opportunities to do something, opportunities that can be had. There's a chance to make a difference. There's a chance to make something happen in our life. There's a chance to do something for the glory of God. But if we push it off and push it off, then that chance may disappear. And so here's the second principle on procrastination. There's a time in which things must be done, or the opportunity will be lost. I think, we all as men, and we talk about this at the Forge all the time, as men, we want to be men of impact. We want to be men of influence. We want to be men who make their lives count for something. Well, guess what? To do that, you've got to take the opportunities when they come, when God brings them your way, when they knock on your door. You have to take those opportunities. And if you don't, if you push them off, if you say, well, maybe next time, or maybe tomorrow I'll do that, maybe next week, next month, next year, well, guess what? That opportunity may disappear. Some opportunities have an expiration date, and if you don't act on them, then you're going to miss that opportunity. There's a time when things must be done, or the opportunity is going to be lost in your life. Don't lose those opportunities God gives to you. Okay, there's stewardship to be used and managed, taken advantage of, used for the glory of God. Okay, that's why procrastination is a harmful thing. So don't fall into its trap. Third thing, let's look at Luke chapter 12, verse 40. It says, you must be ready. And this is Jesus talking. He says, you must be ready. because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. Okay, you need to be prepared in your life, because you never know when Jesus is going to return. He could return anytime. Second coming can happen anytime. Okay, so where is Jesus? The return of Jesus could happen, and whatever you plan on doing tomorrow or next time or next year, that could be out the window because time is short. That's what James talks about. You all know this passage. Today or tomorrow we'll go to this city or that city, spend a year here, carry on business, make money. Well, you don't even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while, then it vanishes. And life is just a mist. Time is short. You don't know how much of it you have left. You don't know if you'll have tomorrow. You don't know if Jesus will come back. You don't know if some unfortunate thing might happen and cut your life short. Like you have today. You have right now. And so be about the things that God has called you to do, things that you know you need to do in your life, whatever they may be, big, small. Just get after the things, the tasks in front of you. Pushing them off, procrastinating, could lead to great disappointment, because you may not have the days in the future that you're counting on to have. So make the most of today. Do like Paul says in Ephesians 5. Make the most of every opportunity. Time is short, so use the time. Okay? So third principle, on procrastination that can help us out is just you cannot count on tomorrow, so act today. You cannot count on tomorrow, so act today. I'm going to give you another one here. Ecclesiastes 11:4. I love this passage. It says, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. What's he saying? He's saying, there's always reasons why we can't do something. We talked about excuses recently here in the book of Joshua. This is another verse on that. We've always got excuses why we can't do something here and now, why there's a good reason to put it off, to wait. And this is again is an agricultural illustration. He's saying, if all you do is watch the wind and be obsessed with the wind and the fact that, it's a little windy, it's not really ideal planting conditions, not really ideal conditions to sow my seed because the wind might blow it away and take it away, and I'm gonna not have a successful planting, and all my efforts are going to come to nothing. Or if it's harvest time and you're just looking at the clouds all the time, well, it could rain, might rain, it's possible it could rain, so let's put off trying to harvest the fields today. Let's do that tomorrow. Let's do that next week. Maybe the weather will be more clear, more certain. Okay? And this is what we do all the time in our life. I'll just speak for myself. This is one of my fundamental weaknesses in life. I like conditions to be ideal before I act on something. Like I want something, I want all the little pieces in place. I want things to be just the way I want them, just the way I need them. I want all the resources available. I want, whatever it is. I want all the circumstances ideal before I step into action. All right? And guess what? We don't live in an ideal world. And if you sit around and you wait for perfect conditions to take action in your life, whatever it is, you will wait and you will wait and you will wait and you will do nothing. If you want to get things done in your life, you've got to be willing to take action in imperfect circumstances. Okay? So my principle here on this one from Ecclesiastes 11:4 is don't wait for perfect conditions to act, or you will never move forward. Okay? You got to be willing to move forward in imperfect conditions. Great. A couple more here. Luke chapter 9, verse 61 and 62. This is a sequence of verses where Jesus is responding to three people who say they want to follow him. Okay, and this is the last one. but they're all the same message. So still another said, I will follow you, Lord, but first, before I do that, before I start following you, let me go back and say goodbye to my family. And Jesus replied, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God. Now that's a challenging statement that Jesus makes here. We don't have time to unpack all of it and all that he's saying there, but the bottom line is this. It's easy for us to get distracted by other things that we have to do, other things that we think have value or importance in our life. And we've got to be willing to commit ourselves to the thing that we need to be doing right now. It's about priorities. Here with these men who wanted to follow Jesus, we want to follow you, Lord, but we got some other things we need to take care of first. Jesus wasn't their top priority, and that's what he's speaking against there. And so if we want to get past procrastination, we have to let priorities overcome our distractions. That's a principle. You've got to let priorities overcome distractions. There's a million things that want your attention today. We know that in this world in which we live. The world is always looking for our attention. And we've got to be willing to say, you know what? There are things that matter that I need to do right now. And those are more vital to my life, more vital to the Lord, more vital to other people than these distractions. Okay, so you've got to let priorities drive your actions, not distractions. All right. Last one, Psalm 119, verse 60. Says this, I will hasten and not delay to obey your commands. Okay? I will hasten and not delay. So many times, whether it's a matter of obedience or whether it's just a matter of something that we've got to get done in our life, a task that we have to take care of, it's easy to delay, to procrastinate, to put off, to look to later to get those things done. But the psalmist here, he's calling us to quick action, quick obedience. When you know what you're supposed to do, just do it. And this is one of the most practical little principles that I do manage to put into practice oftentimes, and it's really helpful. It makes me more productive. It helps me get things knocked off my to-do list. And I'll just put it this way. If there's something you can do now, do it now. If there's something you can do now, do it now. If you do that, you'll be so much more productive and effective, and you'll get things out of the way, you get things off your list. It'll give you so much more peace, so much more rest, because you don't have these things lurking in the background that you've got to take care of. If you can do something, just throughout your day, when there's an opportunity to do something, don't just put it off. Don't move it to the side. Like if you can knock it out, just knock it out. Just get it done. And see what pleasure that will bring you, what peace that will bring you, what productivity that will bring you. That's 3 good P's right there. So, but that's what quick obedience will do in your life. So in all things, whether it's a moral choice or whether it's just the practical, productive kind of things that we need to get done in our life, be quick to do the things that God is calling you to do, or the things that you have to do. Be quick about it, okay? Just get it done. If you can do it now, then do it now and get it done. See what God does with that. All right, let me leave you with a quote. I came across these quotes yesterday from Stoic philosopher Epictetus, and he's like 300-400 AD, something like that. Greek philosopher, Stoic philosopher, and some great statements on procrastination. I want to read you one of them as a closer here. It says, put your principles, this is a challenge, men, put your principles into practice now. Stop the excuses and procrastination. This is your life. You aren't a child anymore. He's laying the wood down here, guys. The sooner you set yourself to your spiritual program, the happier you will be. The longer you wait, the more vulnerable to mediocrity and feel filled, and you'll feel filled with shame and regret because you know that you are capable of better. You're capable of a lot, men. You're capable of better, men. But putting things off, procrastinating, it's going to short circuit all that God would do in your life. So be a man of action. Take action. Get things done today. Do not wait to take the land. Take it now.